All right. Hi, everyone. Isabel Hunt here, and welcome to our Your Soul Speaks Tuesday. I need to use my computer today because for some reason my phone doesn't open my Facebook app for whatever reason. And so if anyone is watching, I know last time we had a little problems with the computer itself. So if anyone is watching, if you could just let me know if you hear me okay, if you see me okay. It looks good on my end, but I don't know how it looks on the other end. So maybe someone could let me know if you jump in. Okay, there's no comments. Sorry, I need to read. It's kind of reflecting. I see the camera is a bit low, so maybe I'm not moving. Let's just not move. Hopefully it works. Well, if I wiggle weird or if the camera looks weird, just listen to me because I think today is a quite important topic, especially currently with all the events going on, everything that we go through ourselves and all of that. And I had this question in the group a couple times now: how am I staying intuitive when I actually just feel stressed out? How can I tap into my intuition when I feel stressed? And so I want to talk with you a little bit about stress. So what is the feeling of stress actually really, and what does it mean to feel stressed? For one, stress is not an emotion. I don't know how we got to that point where we say we feel stressed and made stress an emotion. It is not an emotion. Stress is a condition. Oh, I see someone hopped on. The person who hopped on, can you hear me okay? Can you see me okay? I don't know if maybe someone could respond. Either way, so stress comes actually from the physical term, from physics itself, from the world of physics, meaning pressure, pull, or a force put on something specific, on a specific thing. Stress means, again, pressure, pull, or a force put on one or something specific. That is where the stress term is originally coming from. So somehow that term stress made it into the world of emotions. We're still not quite sure how. I couldn't find anything on the history of that, but it doesn't really matter. It's not really relevant anyways. But taking the term of stress and looking at it from physics, it helps us to identify ourselves as an object, which is being attacked by outside forces. Which in our mind simplifies literally what we experience. It brings a distance between what we experience and who we actually are. So by objectifying what we experience, we keep the distance to who we actually really are to feel less distressed or anxious. Okay? So it is just a simplification for our mind to deal with whatever is going on. And really, when we're already stressed, who needs it even more difficult? So we're making it easy on ourselves to distance ourselves, to objectify what we feel. Unfortunately, we live in a world with very little emotional or emotions vocabulary. And that is our problem. As you know, Carla McLaren is one of my favorite teachers. She always says, we as a society are emotionally underdeveloped, and that is a huge, huge problem. And even with stress, handling stress, that comes in. We are emotionally underdeveloped. We don't even know how to express most of what we experience. So if we'd be emotionally actually prepared and have our emotional world more developed, we have a different relationship to stress itself. Now that can look different ways to different people. That's obviously clear. But that's something that we personally have to deal with, have to figure that out. But in general, if we switch from stress as an object to stress as a breathing, living being, that you can choose to respond to, it makes things much more clear and more personal. And you find yourself in a situation where you can take responsibility in what you experience. In coaching, we talk about at effect versus at cause. At effect meaning you are at effect of whatever is happening to you. At cause means you are choosing how whatever you experience will affect you. Okay, so at effect versus at cause. So switching the objectification of stress to making it more personal and understanding it as a living and breathing being, we can choose from a different place. Stress as a condition actually helps us to increase our awareness, our resources, our integrity, and the ability to access your deepest issues that you may not have dealt with so far. Okay? It is not about creating a stress-free life. We all know with everything around us, it's just not working. There's always triggers going on, if it's people or situations or events. So it's not about creating a stress-free life, but to understand and to create more awareness about how we respond more resourcefully, and to ask us different questions and not, oh my gosh, how can I be less stressed? I'll tell you the questions in a little bit. So how we respond, or that the challenge with stress is more, or comes when we lose ourselves, our flow, when we lose our resourcefulness and switch to just simply existing. Meaning, if we lose in the way we want to experience life, in the way we live life, to existing. That's when stress really becomes a problem, because when we exist, we don't feel that we have the power to change in whatever situation we find ourselves in. So stress, as I said, is a condition. So stress is the condition you find yourself in. Therefore, we have to change our questions and ask more questions that are pointed towards our core level, our really deepest essence, the core that is inside of us. So questions are, for example, hey, I'm feeling stressed. Am I actually angry? Am I frustrated? Am I confused? Do I feel ashamed? I think that's an important question to ask. Am I feeling panicky? Am I upset? Confused? How am I handling the situation? This is a really good question to ask. How am I handling this current situation? What can you let go of? Let's see, I wrote some questions down. How are you handling, that's a good one. How are you handling your resources is a really good question. What do you really feel when you make mistakes? For example, you feel stressed at work because something happened or projects are piling up. The actual emotion is not stress, as I said, it's a condition, but it's more the fear of rejection, maybe. If we don't get this all done in perfect matter, I am not good enough. I'm not adequate to even do this job. Like, those are the thoughts that create the condition of stress where you put yourself in. And then that creates or triggers the chemical reaction in your body. But that's a little bit of a different topic. We don't have to get deeper into that. But those are questions to ask yourself. Or another one, what do you feel when you are not in control of your life? What do you feel when you're not in control of your life? And I think that is a huge question for especially empath, because there's not much we actually can control being an empath. So we try to control whatever we can, even if it's not serving us. So when we find ourselves in situations and conditions of stress, the question is more about, what do you feel when you're not in control of your life? What does it really say, or what do you think that it says about you? So in my situation, for example, when I get stressed out about my work, like, oh my gosh, I need to do this, I need to get this done, I don't have enough time. In my mind, I know by now that when I feel the condition of stress, it is more about the fear of, well, actually, no, it's not even really fear. For those who know my expertise on emotions, so I need to be careful what I use. It's actually not the fear. It's more about the feeling of rejection, of not setting the proper boundaries, of comparing myself with other people and where they're at, and then I don't feel good enough, or I don't trust myself. I just feel like I have to do and do and do to accomplish something specific, but instead of taking myself back and asking the right questions. How can I be more resourceful? What is it that I really experience? Like I said, competition, overstimulation. Those are things that I would feel that creates the condition of stress. Okay, so stress is literally the disconnection from your center. You are no longer grounded. You're disconnected from your instincts and your abilities to set boundaries. That is another thing. Boundaries for empath is hugely, hugely important, as well as the question, what do you feel when you're not in control of your life? Also, what boundaries are you not respecting that you know you need to fully function, to be present, to be in the moment, to have the biggest impact? So it's about, usually stress situations are usually about control and boundaries. Okay? So ask yourself, what am I sensing? What actions do I need to take? For example, in my cases, find a new babysitter because the other one is back to school. And I love the summer with her and I really want her back, but I do need to find a new babysitter. And I keep trying to talk myself out of it. Why? Because I can use my son as an excuse to not to go to that speaking engagement or to create that course. It's much easier, right? But I'm aware of it, so I know which actions I need to take. What are my true intentions? What are you really trying? Are you trying to prove something to yourself or everyone else that you can do it, that you're independent, that you are good enough, that you have what it takes? Anything that you can really think of, and be honest with yourself and very clear. So what is it? What are your actual intentions? And then what must be released? What are beliefs and stories that you need to let go of? Something else, if you want to work through stressful situations. And then the last question that I have for you, what are you resisting? I am resisting to take on help because I proud myself in being able to do everything myself. I probably could, but that would have really bad consequences on my health, on my purpose, on my calling, like everything else, right? So what am I resisting? That's exactly that, as well as tremendous growth. Now you have my story. So tell me, what you found the most valuable from this video? If there's something that you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I didn't even think about it, or that makes it a little easier for me to operate within stressful situations, asking myself questions, that lead me back to being more in tune, to being more aware of what's going on. Stress in stress situation doesn't mean that we can't be intuitive. We just have to acknowledge that our brain is going 1,000 miles an hour or 1,000 miles a minute, probably. And you have to take yourself back a little bit. What is it that I try to do? What are my intentions? Where am I afraid of letting go of control? And what must be released? And where am I not respecting my own boundaries? And that means boundaries on the inside as well as on the outside. Inside might be boundaries about well-being, okay? Where you're not taking care of yourself to be able to respond differently in stressful situation. Again, stress is a condition, not an emotion. So those who watch it, I really hope this video worked. I know last time we did it on the computer, it didn't work so well. But this time my phone didn't work at all, so I had to figure out something. And if you have any questions, comment below. If you have any feedback, if you liked it, if it was helpful to you, I would love to know about it. Let me know. Ask your questions in the group. This is really a great group, very interactive, and we like to help each other. And I am your host of this group, so obviously I would like to do my work well as a life transformation coach and a teacher about emotions and some other titles. Anyways, have an amazing, amazing day. I need to get some work done, but I will check in again later. So again, if you have feedback, let me know, and I'll talk to you guys again next week. Have a great day. Bye.